Hello and welcome to Week 8 Big Rican Browns pregame as we get ready for today's invasion of the Las Vegas Raiders into First Energy Stadium, and we welcome Chucky home because it's not just a bit that Frank Caliendo does. John Gruden is actually from Sandusky, Ohio, so he comes home to play against the Cleveland Browns. So as normal, we're going to go through a little bit of last week's stuff. We're going to get into what I think could happen today. I'll make my prediction, and we'll get you guys off to the other pregame shows and get ready for Browns football today at 1 o'clock. So last week was maybe the defining win of the Kevin Stefanski era so far. A late multiple, down a couple of scores against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati, and Baker Mayfield showed out. The unfortunate thing, he started 0 for 5, and on his first pass, it was intercepted. Every Browns fan I know, between Twitter and other people I'm friends with, were throwing their hats. Baker's garbage, Baker's this. Well, guess what? He showed out after that. 22 of his next 23, his one incompletion was a spike to stop the clock on the final drive. Back to that first play, though. It did cost the Browns in a way that we don't know how it's going to measure out as the season goes on, and that is the loss of Odell Beckham Jr. for the rest of this season to a torn ACL. After that, you saw the Baker Mayfield we saw of 2018. Not taking anything away from this, but as far as Odell goes, speedy recovery, man. Get back on the field. We need you next year. These guys are going to be good. They're going to get some things done, and you're going to help us put us over the top and get to it for real next year. So, back to Baker. 22 of his next 23 showed out. We saw the Baker Mayfield of 2018 for the first time since 2018 last week. The guy that extended plays when he needed to. When he had a clean pocket, hit his receivers in stride, in rhythm. His boy Hollywood Higgins had a huge game. Jarvis Landry may have had the save of the day by getting Harrison Bryant back on the line in order to not get a 10-second runoff toward the end of the game. The defense has its issues. The offense definitely bailed them out last week. But how did they bail him out? Protecting Baker, giving him time. Baker being as close to flawless after an 0 for 5 start as you can be. The wide receivers blocking in the running game. Hang on a second. I got to respond to a comment. My daughter's watching. So Baker, from then on, was 22 of 23. 300 yards passing. The 5 touchdown passes. He hit Harrison Bryant twice. He hit David Njoku on a beautiful, beautiful seam route where he basically put the ball. Njoku's hands are coming here. The defender's head is right here, and he hit him in stride. It was a beautiful catch. Beautiful throw by Baker. But the biggest play of the game was the dime to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Baker threw 5 touchdown passes. 4 of them were to non-wide receivers. Kareem Hunt catching the other one out of the backfield. The dime to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Baker was told in the huddle coming onto the field, get us down to the field goal range. Get it tied. Let's go to overtime. And Baker said, no, we're winning this game. This is the gunslinger we wanted, Cleveland. This is the man who can take this team to the promised land, in my opinion. I said it when they drafted him. I thought he had the mental makeup to take him to the promised land. Now he's got a coach in a front office that understand he can get it done, and they're building around him. Great win. Holes all over the defense. The secondary was shredded by Joe Burrow, who, by the way, how good is Joe Burrow? This kid is outstanding. I don't understand how he didn't get to start at Ohio State. And then he goes to LSU. He wins a Heisman and a national championship. By the way, LSU is absolute trash this year. But here we are. Guess what, guys? Through 7 games, the Cleveland Browns are 5-2. 5-2. When's the last time we saw this? When's the last time we saw a team go out and win games like yesterday? Because I can tell you this. I've been watching the Browns since the late 80s by going out on vacation to see family who lived out there, to moving there in the early 90s, to the couple years we didn't have them, to the last 2 years that I lived in Cleveland and the Browns were back from hiatus. Not many Browns teams would have won that game last week. A lot of them would have. Last year's team would have lost that game last week. But what a great momentum shift after that debacle in Pittsburgh. So now we come to this game. The 3-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Do you know how many times I've almost said Oakland in the last 2 days when talking about this game? I need to remember they're in Vegas now in that Star Trek looking stadium, which looks pretty cool, by the way. So you got the 3-3 Las Vegas Raiders come to town this week, and I've said this every week. I said it about Ohio State last night, and I will say it today about the Cleveland Browns. If they can win the line of scrimmage, the Browns have a good chance at winning this game. Now, here's the thing. The Raiders have beaten the Chiefs already this year. They are an extremely efficient team as Derek Carr has thrown 13 touchdowns and only turned the ball over twice through the air. Josh Jacobs is a great running back with 116 carries for almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Yes, I have the stats over here. But the way this Browns team, again, wins this game is by controlling the line of scrimmage. Myles Garrett will have to come up big because the one thing the Raiders have not done is protect Derek Carr very well. He has gotten hit a bunch. The one game he didn't get hit a bunch, they beat the Chiefs. They held Patrick Mahomes to 25 yards through the air in the second half. It was a wonderful display of defense and game planning by John Gruden and his staff to get a win over the Chiefs in that game. Here is where the Browns have to do things to win this game. One, they have to control the line of scrimmage. And I've said it 1,000 times. I will say it 1,000 more as we may have a bye week next week, but we got 8 games after that. Control the line of scrimmage. Have your way on defense. Don't let Jacobs get running. On offense, keep Baker clean. Get the running game going early. Without Odell, you now have their best corner on Jarvis, which takes Jarvis out. Where I think the Browns can make some hay is with the tight ends and the running backs. Baker loves to throw to his tight ends, and Baker loves to throw to his running backs. So this helps. It doesn't hinder. Losing Odell does hinder, but here's where the numbers play out. Believe it or not, Baker Mayfield's completion percentage and QBR are both significantly higher when not throwing the ball to Odell Beckham. I don't understand it. I remember when the Giants drafted him, I wanted him back when I was running for both the Browns and the Jets. I wanted him on one of the two teams. He hasn't been what everyone thought Odell was going to be coming to Cleveland, but that's not on him. Last year was on the coaching staff and the horrible game planning in the Freddie Kitchens era. I think this year it's been more of Stefanski feeling out what he has. You know, he was in Minnesota for forever. He knew Thielen and Diggs from the time they came into camp as rookies. But you didn't see them having great success until the last couple of years. Now that they're starting to roll a little bit, this is where the Browns can take advantage of Kevin Stefanski's offense. He has called plays almost impeccably with the exception of 2 games, and those 2 teams are playing this week. Those 2 teams are the ones we're chasing in the division. They can get this thing. If they get this thing done today and go to 6-2 in the first 8 with the bye, and then the schedule they get to play for the rest of the year, the Browns are going to make some noise. So again, control the line of scrimmage. Let Myles Garrett and his buddies get some pressure on Derek Carr. Hope the safeties can keep people contained long enough that you don't have to worry about, if you don't hit them, a big play coming. Sendejo and the safeties, Ronnie Harrison, they need to get better. I'm going to go in and try and look to see if I can see the the injury report for today. It's not up yet. One of the reasons I was waiting was hopefully I would get the injury report for today. So yeah, that's the big thing. The big nugget is they gotta keep the line of scrimmage handled. Sorry, I was looking for the injury report, see who was going to play. I know Ronnie Harrison's playing. Hopefully Carl Joseph is back this week, who I think if you make Sendejo not start is an okay guy in a nickel situation or to help stuff the run. But as far as coverage, Giovanni Bernard last week was his responsibility on that goal line play, and he was 2 minutes late getting to him to make the play. So the defense has to tighten up. This is not the Cincinnati Bengals they're playing. This Raiders team has played very well, even though they're only 3-3. Pressure on Carr and the linebackers containing the running game are what's going to be the way the Browns win this game on the defensive side of the ball. As always, on the offensive side of the ball, control the line of scrimmage. Get Kareem Hunt going early. Whether it's a swing pass, a screen, straight handoff, toss, it doesn't matter. You've got to get Kareem Hunt going quickly. The Raiders have an explosive passing game, and Denzel Ward's going to have his work cut out for him. Playing outside against, I think it's Henry Ruggs. Yeah, against Ruggs every down. Now I got to look it up. Now I'm driving myself crazy. Yeah, it is Henry Ruggs. I thought so. So Denzel's going to go heads up on Henry Ruggs, who's having a great rookie season, and that leaves the rest of the secondary to handle the rest of the Raiders' weapons. This game can't get into a shootout. This isn't the Cincinnati Bengals. They are a better team. Get ahead early, play the keep-away game, and you get to 6-2 at home with a bye coming and then a schedule that the Cleveland Browns fans, listen, guys, to all the Browns fans that are watching or listening or whatever you're going to do, if the Browns get to 6-2 going into the bye and get a little healthier, we should get Nick Chubb back hopefully after the bye. Texans, home for the Texans, home for the Eagles. At Jacksonville, at Tennessee, home for Baltimore. At Giants, at Jets, home for the Steelers to end the season. This is a playoff team. If they can continue to do the things that have got them to where they are now consistently. Line of scrimmage, running game. Limit the other offense because unfortunately the defense isn't locked down as of yet. So hopefully the Browns can continue that blueprint and get it done this week. Get to 6-2 because one of the other teams in the division, either Steelers are going to lose their first game or Baltimore is going to lose their second. So at worst, you're in the same spot at the end of the day. At best, you're in a tie for second place in the division with games against Pittsburgh and Baltimore coming up. So I told you, we're only going to be about 15 minutes today. We're about 13 and a half. Just a quick recap. Next week, there will be no Sunday episode because the Browns are off, but I will be back Saturday to preview Ohio State Rutgers and go over what happened last night in Happy Valley. As I have said, coming up, when we get to the 100th episode, it will be the Michael Jordan, LeBron James episode, where I go deep into the biggest debate in basically sports media right now is who is the GOAT? I'm going to throw a lot of things at everybody, and I'm going to want a lot of feedback on it. Also, continue to see other content coming. Tone, Alex, and I are going to be up in the next week or two. We're going to recap the entire 2020 baseball season, and we're going to get into not only the hot stove, but who we think wins the awards, and then who knows? When the three of us get together, we go off on topics when it comes to the game that not a lot of people are looking for, but we get there, and these two boys that I bring in to do this, they know their stuff. And it's a lot of fun to talk with them, and I can't wait till we do it again. As always, Big Rican can be found here on both YouTube and Facebook. Big Rican on Sport on Twitter, at Big Rican on Sports on Instagram, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public, and a very proud member of the Time Skew Podcast Network. If you're fantasy football fans, get on Twitter and get the other guys who do the different teams and the fantasy. I want to say it's Armchair Quarterback that does. It's Armchair Quarterback that has all the fantasy and advice and needs for going into each week. Those are your boys. TimeSkew itself, the two best options for your fantasy football needs. So here's to week 8. Here's to a 6-2 Browns start going into the bye. Go Dogs. We'll see you next Saturday.